Good morning. Trying to get the sage to burn in remembrance of 9/11. I know we got a lot going on, but I was shocked that in a conversation I was having with Mr. Robert from Event Reg yesterday about our up-and-coming event, that myself and many others had forgotten that this coming Friday is 19 years since that happened on September 11th. And let me pray once again, remembering all the fallen frontline defenders during that time, and even during the times today that are out there fighting to protect us and make sure we can live and have a safe life, even though it's some challenging times. Still, without those people doing their jobs, we would not have the freedom that we have right now. God grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the courage to change the things we can, and the wisdom to know the difference. As I was saying before, talking to Mr. Robert, and when he reminded me that this Friday is September 11th, I just had to stop. I was paralyzed. And I remember that day when those planes crashed into the tower and the world was at a standstill. It was so chaotic. People were paralyzed. Me and my wife was rushing to the school to get our son out of school. We didn't know what was going on. We didn't know what was next. Just a state of confusion. And what I said to Mr. Robert yesterday, I said, how quickly we forget tragedy. How quickly do we forget history? If we don't remember history, we're bound to repeat history. So it's important that we don't forget, especially that day. The whole world, we didn't know what to expect. And when me and my son, Messiah, was coming home last night, I'm just apologizing for not even pushing it and remembering it and celebrating it in remembrance of that moment that have changed the course of history. And me and my son both were just like in awe last night as we were coming home. And I was just trying to help him to understand what it was like on that day. How people were jumping out of buildings. I mean, the world was just once again at a standstill. It didn't matter your color, your race, your creed. For that one time in the world, good morning, sir, that one time in America, someone had brought a plane to destroy different important monuments in this country. And it didn't matter what your race, your color, your creed. What happened was that it forced us all to come together and put our differences to the side and remember the country that we live in, the freedom that we had, and it was being taken from us by the enemies that were attacking from the outside, not the inside in. And as I spoke to Mr. Robert, I just said, you know what? I got to do something. And what we want to do this coming Friday, tomorrow, from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock, we want to offer our Point MMA complete martial artist coaching course, free, through Facebook. 6 o'clock, you tune in. We're going to offer it to any and everybody that want to come. It's just our way to give back. It's not a sales pitch. It's just, once again, my heart and soul is committed to my community. Even this week when I was talking to the person from B.A.M.'s community center, a community center in the heart of Baltimore that will be celebrating 200 years next year for them serving the city of Baltimore and Lafayette projects and places like that. The place that made it possible for me to be a little kid with a creative desire to want to do martial arts. And they believed in me, and still to this day, we continue to give back every year. Toy drive, food drives, warm clothing, toothpaste, for more than 24 years. As a little kid, when I went there with a dream to want to teach martial arts, my own little style, and the guy, Dwight, said, "Hey, get out of here, little boy. You don't know how to teach martial arts. You need a certification." And when I went back, he always tells the story. I told B.A.M. to get out, but now look at him. He continues to return, and it brings me to tears because I want a blueprint of unity. Dwight said something that was so important. He said, you know, at one time in Baltimore, we all got along. There was no race over here, this over here. B.A.M.'s provided a place for us all to come together, work together, and for the sake of our children, uplift and empower each other. Good morning, sir. And that's what this is all about. You know, many people, you know, think we're about trying to create a sales pitch. Nah, I just really want to make sure that there's a route branched out from these communities like Baltimore, and a bridge that allow us to go back and make sure these funds or these opportunities or these programs are given to kids right there that can benefit. You know, it's no longer just in the inner city. We have these struggles also in the suburbs. I mean, think about it, even with the kids going back to school right now, children and our parents need us more than ever right now. I'm looking at my wife this week as we did our virtual learning with the kids coming to the school, and if it wasn't for my wife, I don't know what would have happened with these kids. And all the parents were saying the exact same thing. Thank you, Miss Kimber. Thank you for being there to help our kids, because right now don't nobody know what's going on. The school don't even know what's going on. I mean, the system just crashed and kids were just panicking. And thank God for my wife on that day. But if it wasn't for the celebration, if we don't celebrate 9/11, and if we don't remember if those firefighters and policemen and all those people that was jumping out of the buildings, or people that were sacrificing their lives for the sake of us as a country and as a people, if we walk around like it didn't happen, but if you were alive and you remember what happened on that day and remember what it did to the world, we should all be working together and uniting and coming together, because this is where we live. This is the country that don't matter what's happening in this country. It don't matter what's going on. We will make change. But at the time that we needed to come together on 9/11, those firefighters, those policemen, the military, I mean, everybody. I mean, I say again, said something to someone. I said, you know what? For 34 years, I've been clean and sober. I used to sell drugs, use drugs, anything that could happen to a kid happened to me in that inner city. I went to prison, all that stuff. But the moment I forget what that life was like and what happened, then it's going to sneak up on me, and I can wake up one day wondering, what happened? How did I get back here? Because I forgot my history. We got to play the picture all the way through. We got to remember what we had to get through to get to today. And it forces us to appreciate what we have today. And that's the same thing with 9/11. When we think of what happened, and we think of how we all came together, we think about how it affected our travel, when we think about how it affected everything in our lives, there's no way we cannot just have a moment of silence. There's no way there should not be something happening throughout this week to remind us as a people that yes, we're going through some stuff right now, but it's nothing like what we had already went through as a people and as a country. And I'm not even military, but I do understand the impact of what that had on our country. So once again, my way to unite with Event Reg and people around the country is to say, look, let's bring back these mentors, these coaches. Let's get everybody unite together, and let's be a united front of mentors, truly connected to the development of our children. Not because you want to get a new contract, not because you want to charge somebody $200 or $300 so you can make a living off of, as I would call, pimping the school owner or the person that's struggling, and you want to take their weakness and use it as an opportunity for you to get wealthy. No. Let's help these kids. Let's help these parents. So this Friday, 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock on Facebook Live, right here, we are going to be offering our free Point MMA complete martial artist coaching course that's adaptable and adjustable for you to be able to teach not just online, but also online, for us to learn new concepts, new things that can keep it simple, consistent, and teach our children how they... Let me hit you with something. I remember at McKim's Community Center, you came in, they didn't give you a job. They told you go grow up, get a certificate of completion to become a martial arts instructor. But at the same time, even though Dwight said that, they still gave me an opportunity to get a summer job. Summer job, you learned a lot of things that kids don't learn now, how to clean. I mean, kids don't learn it. I don't care if they are smart. Most kids don't even know how to sweep the floor now. They don't even know how to make up their beds. Some of them don't even know how to take out the trash. We talking about the simple, basic things in life. And they get mad with you when you tell them to do it. Oh, well, my parents don't let me do that. They said I don't have to do it. Well, I feel sorry for them when they get on their own. So McKim's taught you that. You know, the older people overseeing us as little kids and showed us how to become future leaders. They showed us how to get the summer jobs and then being able to also become interns. I know everybody hates SWAT team that we have in martial arts, but how is SWAT team any different than internship that kids go through when they go to college? It's the exact same thing. As a matter of fact, SWAT leadership team is a lot more compassionate and considerate than an internship, because that's almost like an abusive situation where you see what they force some of the kids to do. But that's what this coaching is. It's taking those basic principles and getting moms and dads and anybody out there. You don't have to be a martial artist. You just have to have a passion. You just got to be somebody that want to be the change that we talk about. Our children need us more than ever right now. They don't need a kick. They don't need a punch. They need leadership. They need help. They're on computer systems. They got to be connected and figure out stuff all by themselves. These are some trying times. But once again, we done been through some more devastating times. And 9/11 was one. I say again, I remember what that day was like with me and my wife, running around to get our son, going to our martial arts school, seeing that people was in there crying and praying because we didn't know what to do. I didn't even know what to say to our students. How in the hell did I forget that? How am I going through this week not even honoring that and remembering that and teaching that moment in history to my children? What I ended up doing last night, that's what life used to be about with the elders? You would sit around a campfire and share past experiences and historical legacies that we have all overcame, not just as a race, but as human beings. That moment forced us to come together. Once again, to come together for survival. We didn't let race, color, creed, sex, or nothing stand in the way. We came together for a greater good, for a bigger purpose. And we began to rebuild after that. What are we going to do right now? I don't know why that came to me out of nowhere. I don't even know why I'm even on this, but I realized that I will not forget it. I realize that I will honor it. I realize that I will teach it to my children. I realized that last night I spent my whole night just like ashamed of myself for forgetting something like that. Realizing that this what we going through right now, we can overcome. Because that what we went through on that particular day and beyond was devastating. Excuse me. Once again, look, my son said it. Dad, look at the airports. That's why security is so high. He's right. Sometimes we need to step back and listen to our children. But most importantly, everybody, for me and my family with Point MMA, this is our way to say, look, our children need us. For every older person that's out there saying, man, I don't know what we're going to do. I don't understand. I can't wait till it goes back to the way it used to be. These kids are weak. These kids, they'll never have it like we had it. Let me explain something to you that I witnessed this week with my wife. I go to the school and I'm setting up these computers to assist these parents in making sure their kids are on computers, doing their schoolwork, and not being left behind. Because parents still got to go to work. They still got to make a living. They still got to take care of their families. And it's stressful. You know, that's one of the reasons why my wife said, nope, I got to make sure I put our little son in a setting that's familiar to school, because it gets too intense around here at the house. And I go there and I see her, and nobody was prepared that at 9 o'clock when it was time to log onto the computer, everything shut down. People panicking, kids are lost, kids didn't know what to do, even up to yesterday. My wife saying, man, thank God I'm here to help these kids. Because we got little kids that are in kindergarten, that they giving assignments that there's no way these kids can understand it. There's no way that the parents can understand it. What are we going to do to get out of our own ways and stop being selfish and become selfless and realize that our children and communities and families need us more than ever right now? That's why I'm on martial arts class. Say, you know what? We're going to have a dance party. We're going to play some music. We're going to laugh. We're going to have a good time. Because I know that right now it's so stressful for our children. Never in the course of history would I ever have thought that children would have to deal with so much so young in school. And the school system don't even have an idea, because it's like the martial arts industry. Nobody knows what to do. It's like in combat. We're adapting and adjusting to the changes of times. Until we get to the other side of this, it's like adapt and flow and learn to flow in harmony with the universe. But we got to unite. We got to come together. And for me, remembering 9/11 tomorrow is giving us a chance to come together once again and have a moment of silence and come on and meet us and become a coach that we can go back to these communities and share a simple or easy concept that came from the city of Baltimore. I say again, in a new article coming out in Black Belt magazine, I think it's this month or next month, Robert Young asked me, he said, Willie, I want to share this concept where you and your wife say that y'all didn't create Point MMA. Y'all add structure to Point MMA. Yep. Point MMA is the flag football of martial arts. It's a structured way to be able to learn calisthenics, crazy athletics, which we created, and also learn technical execution the proper way to just learn how to do some good shadow boxing and sharpen your skill set. Because we realize with fitness and technique, you can beat a person that got a wild execution of dramatic or emotional expression of anger. If you can stay calm, control your emotions, and physically fit, and you are technically ready. That's what Point MMA is all about. It's just taking the madness and added structure to it. Celebrating all the great people that came before us. Billy Blanks, Chuck Norris, Joe Lewis, Ray McCollum. Look around. We talking about the sparring the way it used to be in the inner cities and in the tournaments. It was technically correct. People was doing some incredible, fantastic stuff, and they were in shape. We want to remember those people, just like we want to remember the people that made it possible for us to even be alive today to deal with Corona, because they fought for us and they got on that front line and they saved people's lives. Remember that picture. If you remember the news, remember people jumping out the windows. Remember the plane crashing into the building. Remember people sacrificing their lives just for the sake of whoever needed. Didn't matter your color, didn't matter your race, didn't matter if you was a policeman, a firefighter, whoever it was. We came together for that moment. When are we going to get back to that? Because really in God's eyes, we're all one race. I'm not against nothing that's going on, but at the same time, we are human beings. We all bleed the same color, red. And we have to come together for the sake of our children, for these parents, for our communities, and for these trying times. And that's what this is all about. So hopefully we see you guys tomorrow to unite and come together and truly make an impact for the next generation of children, and leaders. Once again, join us. You can go to the link that's on here and register for free for the Point MMA Complete Martial Artist Coaching Course. Coaches, you do not have to be a black belt. You do not have to be a martial artist. All you have to want is a passion to want to help and be a role model for the children. And when we can teach these basic core principles to other children, just like we all came up. When I first started in martial arts, it was an honor when my instructor said, hey, go start the class. You took pride in that. He still sat back and watched you while you start the class, you led the class. That's all coaching is. We're teaching the children, and when they become mature enough and leaders to lead the group, then guess what? When they get to a point where they can be able to financially gain money. Our 6-year-old son works at the dojo. He might not be set up because he's not old enough to be set up with an employment contract, but he got responsibilities of working for other people as an entrepreneur. That's how we raise our kids. We want you to learn how to hustle and learn how to get it right now on your own. So when you go off to college or you get older, you know how to stand on your own 2 feet. We start training you how to be an entrepreneur. Come on. Anybody that's on here when you was a kid, you're not going to tell me you didn't bag bags back then. You didn't help the lady. You didn't take out her trash. You didn't mow the lawn. There's things that we did that showed us how to, you swept the floor. My mom showed me how to make up the bed, clean up behind yourself. Those things are lost. That's what this coaching is all about. Show them how to pick up in their community. Don't just throw the trash down there. Show them how to do it right now. There is no perfect time. The perfect time is when you prepare for opportunity. Preparation, meeting opportunity is the key to success. So you prepare, just like in the dojo. We do extra reps, even when nobody's looking, and we don't do it for the teacher, we do it for ourselves. So when times are hard, is that extra life insurance that you took out by pushing a little harder than you have ever pushed, that's going to save your life and give you the grit and the ability to be able to survive and push through. And that's what we do is all about. Yep, it's hard. It's not easy. We're going to challenge you. We're going to push you so hard. Like the people that's in my life today and I get gratitude for, I once hated those people and thought they were evil and they were mad and they were against me and I didn't want to work with them. But when the student became ready internally inside myself, I am grateful for all the things, even Dwight when he told me I would never be a good teacher. And now guess what? I have a meeting with him on Sunday to make sure we don't forget a community center like McKim's that have been serving Baltimore for over 200 years. All colors, all race, all creeds. I hate to say it, and I ain't trying to be funny. My dad told me one thing. He said, you know what? I don't care what color that old man was or what color that person was or what sex they was. What matters is what sort of respect you showed me. As long as you showed me respect, we were able to get along. When you cross that line of disrespect, then it don't matter. I don't care who you are. I'm going to do what I need to do. But as human beings, as long as we remember the principles of martial arts, which is the good character, showing respect and taking care of our community, respecting the elders, respecting our parents, treating other people, sharing, and treating people like you want to be treated, guess what? It's easy to decide who the enemy is. It's easy to see who the person you got to stand up and deal with, because when they don't live by those things, then it's simple. But when we start lowering our standards and then giving people a pass that don't show you respect, that don't show elders respect, that don't respect their parents, that don't, share and build and impact the community and be a part of that village concept where it takes a village to raise the children, it's easy to realize. You gotta keep them at bay because they ain't living for them. They have no structure. They have no principles. Like Master June Reed once said, you know what I'm saying? The difference between an animal and a human being is that we as human beings do have the animal desires and instincts because it's inside of us. But because we have choice, we allow our character to control that egotistical, animalistic attitude that without control, it destroys empires and hurt people. So that's what this is about. So hopefully, once again, we'll see you tomorrow, just like us, in remembering 9/11. I thank you, Mr. Robert, Event Reg, because I did forget, and I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I say again in a lesson, do not forget your history, because if you forget your history, you are bound to repeat it. I don't care how strong you are. I don't care what you think you got, what degree, or how tough you are. If you don't remember history, and if you don't uphold history, and if you don't celebrate it, you are going to repeat it. And it's going to sneak up on you, and it's going to hit you by surprise. And that devastation is far more devastating than what you experienced when it first came. That's why they say anybody that's an alcoholic or a drug addict, before you know that you have a problem, it's easy to deal with it and recover from it. And it's anything that overtakes you and holds you hostage mentally and emotionally. But this is what happens. Once you get an education and realize that there is a solution, your hell would be more devastating than before. Why? Because you consciously know that there is a solution, and you made a choice to live ignorant, to follow an ignorant path and act in an ignorant manner. So therefore, you will never be the same. And they say people that were given that knowledge of self, and they still go back and do the same stupid and same things, some people die just like that. Why? Because the body and the emotions can't handle it. Because you know that there's a way out. We know that we should be upholding these historical moments in history that have impacted our lives and will continue to impact our lives. And we need to share with the next generation. Like with my son last night, you could see it affected him emotionally. And he was even saying, Dad, I'm sorry, I never understood. I didn't know it was like that. I didn't know people was jumping out the window. I didn't know that the world was at a standstill. Geez, Dad. Yep. I'm saying, geez, B.A.M, how did you forget that? I'm making a commitment to make sure I will never forget it again. Thank you, Robert. And once again, people, tomorrow, hopefully we'll see you, 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock, as a part of the Facebook Live Point MMA Coaches Certification to develop mentors and coaches in the communities around us. And guess what? You don't need experience. All you need is passion. Let's come together and unite for a common good, for the human race, for our country, for the world, for the universe as a whole. You know, they say that the thing that is our pain and our struggle that binds us together, that's what connects us. I'm not about any of the race, color, creed stuff. I'm about humanity. Because when I was eating out the trash cans and I was incarcerated, wasn't nobody there. The thing that never left me was God. God was always there for me. God never abandoned me. And his messengers came to empower me and give me a solution and show me that, guess what? You can stop using drugs, selling drugs, and living a foul life. And that's been well over 34 years. So if I can do it, anybody can do it. But it takes a commitment to wanting a better way of living. And when your ass is on fire and you don't want pain no more, you will do whatever it takes that's morally correct and based upon good law-abiding rules and guidelines. They say who we are is God's gift to us. And when we learn that with freedom comes responsibility, we follow good orderly directions, and then guess what? We can look at ourselves in the mirror and know that we're doing our very best each and every day to be the best parent, the best servant, the best business person, and best community leader, which is the complete martial artist coach. So let's become coaches. Let's become mentors. Let's connect. Not about black belt. Not about degrees. Not about none of that. What it's about is us coming together, working together. My instructor, Master Brown, couldn't flip and couldn't do gymnastics, but he could coach me to be able to learn how to flip and become a world champion. And wherever he felt as though he lacked, he sent me to China to learn a higher skill set. So it's not about knowing the technique. It's about passionately wanting to affect change for our children. And remember, I say again, for all of the older people and people want to go back the old way and stuck, our kids need us and our parents need us right now. This virtual learning is devastating. Not saying it's all bad, but right now it's truly challenging for our children. And if we don't have people like Miss Kimber, my wife, who's taking her time out of her day to be committed from 9 o'clock in the morning until 4 o'clock in the afternoon to assist our parents and in making sure their kids can have help and direction to learn how to get their education and learn how to deal with this new virtual learning, imagine what's going to happen to our future. And we thank the parents for realizing, hold up, I can't do it. I need help. Please help me. Let's unite together and make a difference. And that's what Celebration of 9/11 was. Because I have never witnessed people coming together during my lifetime the way they came together on that day to help bring back hope, smiles, opportunity, and possibilities. And remember, those buildings that were knocked down on 9/11 still haven't been replaced. Come on, everybody. Let's unite together. So we'll see you tomorrow, Facebook Live. Become a coach, a point-and-remain complete martial artist coach. And basically, that's taking cultural art programs back to our communities all over the world. And we all come together, we can all bring, once we understand the format and the infrastructure, we can all bring our own expressions. There might be people out there that can bring drama. There might be people out there that might be hip-hop dancers. There might be people that might be out there that might be able to show people show our children the proper way of how to pick up a broom and a mop and learn how to sweep and mop a floor. Shivu Tyrone, my brother, much love. You understand that whole core of just getting back to our community because you was there when we started Dennis Brown, Charlotte, and Wishu Academies right there at McKim's Community Center. You know, so even showing kids how to, one day, who knows, they can do the job that somebody like Shivu Tyrone does. Who, you know, come on, everybody in the world is valuable. Let's think about this. Our children might criticize the trash man and say, no, I don't want to be a trash man. Look at him, man. He's picking up all that dirt. Let's think about this. If we all put our trash out and the trash man never came to collect the trash in a week, what would happen to our community? If the trash man never came in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, what would happen to our communities if there was no one there to clean up the trash? What happened if the city worker did not take the broom and sweep the streets or pick up the trash in the community? What would happen if every person that had an animal and allowed their animal to poop all over the neighborhood and never had a pooper scooper like the lady created in the multi-millionaire right now because she realized, hold up, let me create a pooper scooper so we can pick up the poop and put it in the trash so it won't be left in our communities. Can we come together and clean up the mess that we see in the world today, starting with our kids, by joining me tomorrow for the sake of 9/11, because I forgot. And I say again, Robert, thank you. I will never forget that moment in history. And my bow, let's have a moment of silence. Let's do that before I end with prayer. For all those people that did fight and make it possible for us to even be able to have the right and the ability to adjust to the corona state of mind right now. It was that moment in history that they gave us, and for our freedom, to deal with the outside attacks that came to this country, came on American soil and did what they did. So we can now be here and being able to make conscious efforts to make it through what's going on with Corona and all the other stuff. Let's unite, people. Let's do what's right. It's beyond race, color, and creed. It's about us being good human beings, and for the sake of character and all the right things. Come on. If I've been through hell and did all those bad things and ended up in jail and eating up the trash can, and I'm sitting here talking about this, what is anybody else's excuse? So hopefully you'll join us tomorrow once again at 6 p.m. to 9 o'clock and become a Point MMA complete martial artist coach, which is basically the cultural art programs that used to be in cities all over the world, like the community center of McKim's Community Center. So I say thank you, God. Thank you for the ability for me to be open and recognize my own shortcoming, to forget moments like that. I recognize that history is the most important thing that we can hold on to. It reminds us of our past. It allows us to be grateful for all the things that's currently in our lives today, be it good or bad. When we compare the current state with the past state, we have a lot to be grateful for. And I ask you for your forgiveness for me not remembering that. And please, God, allow us to unite and allow us to come together, not for the sake of us trying to sell a membership or make a dollar or manipulate another person or try to get over on people, but to come together for the sake of our children, their parents, our communities, and help people become coaches under this program, this blueprint that represents everything that a place like McKim's Community Center represents. Truly an opportunity to give back to our children, develop leaders, and show them the basic character development things of even picking up a broom, taking out the trash, learning to wash the dishes, learning to say good morning, Mom, good night, Dad, showing respect to our elders. God, please allow us to go back to those basic things that can allow us to get through all bad things and challenging things if we have good character and if we're united and if we work together for the common good. And that common good is to come together as human beings and protect our children and protect our families and our communities and allow our businesses to stand up on those sort of principles in life. Thank you, God. Hopefully we'll see you tomorrow, people. Don't forget Point MMA Complete Martial Artist Coaching Course, which is the cultural art programs that used to be in our communities and save people like me, tomorrow at 6 o'clock to 9 p.m. on Facebook, this Facebook right here, and it's free. It's to give back to the fallen heroes and the people that are still alive and remember what happened on 9/11. Peace and blessings.